Finding yourself, I think there's two different methods. There's Julia's method, which I admire very much, which is she dips her foot everywhere. She's tried. I mean, she's the one who showed us you can quit a job. Me, I was like,
yeah.
You know, she's tried. And then there's someone like me who I feel like I've sort of fallen into, I was very system, and then I'm like, oh, okay.
Hi guys, welcome to our channel.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Over 25. If it's your first time on this YouTube channel and you've been watching and not subscribing, just subscribe. It helps us. We're on the road to 100K. Okay, I think at this point we should be very close.
By the time we should have.
I hope so. I hope so.
We've been waiting.
Yes. And we know it because we see it in our stats, guys. A lot of you watch the episodes, but you don't subscribe because you're like, I don't want to commit. Just commit. It's free. Just commit. It's free. You don't pay anything. Yeah. And if you don't want to be notified on your phone, you don't have to turn on the bell. Yeah. But then for us, it helps us with our numbers. It helps us a lot in this space. So please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you like this episode, at the end of the episode, leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, and please share. We're about to talk about some heavy S-H-I-T shit. So today we're discussing something. Let me just talk about the theme of the conversation: normalizing things in our lives. There was a huge trend, I think it was last year. Normalize. Normalize. Yeah. Please, normalize not having, 6-inch nails. Normalize wearing flats to the club. Normalize women not having to cook. Normalize, you know what I mean? And what really inspired this conversation was that, and also the fact that we are now women in our 30s, we're no longer in our 20s, and there's certain things we feel like societally we're expected to do or achieve, but it hasn't come to us, or maybe we just don't want to. It's not in our vibe. All opinions or all things that are expected, it's an expectation that starts from one person, then becomes a group of people, and then everybody needs to follow suit. But then we're all born with individual desires, individual paths, individual traumas, individual upbringing, so we cannot all be the same. By 30, this should have happened, or it should have.
Where's the fun in that?
Where is the fun in that? So that's what we're talking about, things that we would like to normalize. And the point of this episode is not necessarily to give a solution, but to spark conversation around these issues. So we have selected a few items that we're very passionate about, of points that we are very passionate about around this theme of normalizing. And I will start with one, and I will allow you guys to jump in with your thoughts, feelings, ideas, and opinions.
Noted.
The opinions in this episode thoroughly reflect the opinions of over 25. All right, so the first one is a bit heavy, but I'm excited. I like to go in hard because we're coming in hard. Normalize finding yourself in your 30s or beyond the age of 30s. Because I'm just gonna start it so you guys can pick up the whole. Usually you're told when you finish uni, first of all, when you're 18, first of all, hey, let me just start. You go to school, you're told what to do until you're 18. Then within 3 months or even a month, by the time your results come out, you should know what you want to study. You should have known in high school what you want to do without any exposure into the work market, job market. Yes. So whatever you do in uni is supposed to be now the blueprint for the rest of your life in terms of career. And the whole thing, but it's not practical for everybody. It's practical for a select group of people. But what of those who it's not practical for? So normalizing finding yourself in your 30s, and what does that look like?
I feel like I'm more aware of this finding yourself in your 30s because of the ones behind us, the people in their 20s who seem to have their shit all together. But I feel like for me, in my 20s, I was just kind of doing what you're supposed to do. The course that I took in uni, I was kind of nudged towards it. Then after that, we're just looking for jobs that can pay, not necessarily this is what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I think I got into a certain kind of job market, and that's just where I found myself floating around for the rest of my 20s.
There's also a group of young people in their 20s who don't have their shit together, and they are looking at other people in their 20s who look like they have their shit together, and they're like, oh my God, I need to already be working, have my own house, have a business, become a billionaire like Kylie Jenner in my early 20s. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of pressure. In fact, I think the pressure is a lot on them. It's a mix.
Yeah.
They're very woke. They're very like, I'm in my journey, but also there's pressure. There's pressure. They have a pressure that us guys didn't have because we're not seeing where Ivy amefika wapi. Lona amefika wapi. You only see me. I'd only see you on the weekends. Then I'm like, hey, you got a new car. It's not a constant daily reminder of how I'm a failure.
And then now the world is so much more globalized. It's TikTok, there's stuff. People are seeing all these kids getting rich off crypto, and they're like, why isn't that me? Why I can't afford this? For me, what I would add to that is like, just remember, basically, every human is still learning. There's no way you can know who you are at 30. There's no way you can know who you are at 20. There's no way you can even know who you are at even 60. But there's always more to discover about yourself. The more people you meet, the more you morph into the next, into who you're really supposed to be. So it's really, can you really say that this Shiko in the next years, 10 years is this Shiko? No, not really. Even us as women, the many women who are inside us, the woman at me at 20, at 30, at 40, it will not be the same person. And it applies to men as well. So life is a learning, like you're growing, you're learning. You can never ultimately reach your, I think this is Lorna, the ultimate
fullest potential of
self-actualization.
There's nothing like that.
Just to add on to what Lorna has said, for me, in my 30s, what I've come to discover is I'm unlearning a lot. I'm unlearning a lot of the stuff I learned earlier on. I'm like, oh shit, that doesn't work like that. That doesn't work like that. That doesn't work like that. So me, that's what I've realized in my 30s. I'm just nachuja vitu mingi sana zenye
Interesting.
And actually, I just have to give a shout out personally to Anita Nderu. There's a post she had published on her Instagram. I can't remember when it was this year. I've really looked for it. I can't find it. And I think she was celebrating her birthday or talking about turning 30, and she was like, we need to normalize finding yourself in your 30s, finding yourself in your 50s, you know, starting a new career in your 40s. And what does normalizing do? It removes shame. It removes shame. It removes shame and fear. You know, like for example, I can be like, oh, I've started taking a sewing class. But then you have to tell, you know, you're so scared of telling guys because there's a stigma attached to that. And it's only okay if it's a side thing. You know, and not the main thing. You know, and this is not only a problem in Kenya, it's a problem all across the globe because there's certain milestones you're supposed to have achieved. You know, I think with the baby boomers, there's an era they came from their parents had yawning. Their parents were, they lived through the depression. You know, I don't know. For us, our life is different. Life is different. But then we've inherited so many mindsets that just don't apply to us. But you see, these are people who we look up to. They were the ones who formed our.
They're the ones who taught us. I think hence the unlearning that talking about.
You guys remember that very old guy who went back to school at 88? I think that was the first time.
That was the movie.
I was like, oh my God. You can go to school at 88, primary school.
Wow.
Random.
And so many people, so many women who raise their babies, then they're gone, then they finally go back, get their degree. Because they couldn't at the time. Man.
And so my challenge is to the people who receive that information. Because it's not even me, somebody can tell me and I'll be like, this guy, you're starting to do photography and you've left your job. What? You know, so the thing, the challenge is if you're the person being told this thing, do not criticize. You know, don't criticize, don't give that feedback of, you know, me, okay, I think that's good for you, but don't do that. Because it's so easy. You can say one thing to somebody and you completely squash their dreams. So people, like for me, like finding yourself in your 30s, like my career path has been like this. But I knew for sure that the career I was in is not what I wanted to do. I didn't have an alternative. I didn't know any better. So I had to make money. I mean, the lights needed to stay on in my life.
Yeah,
so,
like I saw this TikTok for this guy. You know that TikTok sound that's blown up and for because I'm an international super spy. Anyway,
the TikTokers of the group.
On this side
basically, that guy was saying during COVID, he's a communication student. During COVID, he had to move back to his parents' house. He had hakuwa na mwelekeo. Then all of a sudden, that job came through for that cartoon, and he was given that the what do you call it? That was the cartoon. That was his role. And look at cartoon. It's called. It starts with a B. I'll tell you. Okay. I can't remember right now. But that cartoon now, that voice blew up on TikTok and it's like, hey, you guys, this is me. So basically, he was saying like, you have no idea what life has in store.
Yeah.
You really don't.
And in finding yourself, I think there's two different methods. There's Julia's method, which I admire very much, which is she dips her foot everywhere. She's tried. I mean, she's the one who showed us you can quit a job. Me, I was like,
yeah.
You know, she's tried. And then there's someone like me who I feel like I've sort of fallen into, I was very system. And then I'm like, oh, okay.
Let me tell you, you will stumble until you stop stumbling. And you'll only stop stumbling when you start listening to that inner guidance system, which for me, I've always said it has to be God. Because who is it telling you? Or what is pulling you towards pottery and not baking, or YouTube content creation and not sewing? You know, what is that? There's something. You can decide to take what to do with that as you may. You know, but like for me, I'm just like, if you have a strong pull towards something, exploit. I don't say jump, leave your job. Because you can't leave. I mean, I have a whole opinion about just quitting. I don't think you should just quit. Like by the time you do something, you have to also be okay with certain decisions that you're making because you'll be fucked up. Yeah, but anyway, so normalize. No, I think normalize finding yourself. Normalize being in your 30s and like the other day there's somebody who on a campaign I'm working on, she just wrote on the group that we are in on WhatsApp, I've left this agency. You guys, all the best. But it's somebody I'd really bonded with. So I called her. I'm like, sis, where are you going? And she's like, I'm not going anywhere. And she's much younger, like 24, 25. And I'm like, you guys, your generation, although it's our generation. But I'm like, us, you could never say nothing.
No,
you have to say, actually, there's this thing I'm doing. You even have to lie. It's okay to do nothing. It's okay to do nothing. It's normalize. Okay. Normalize that. And what normalizing means is the people who receive that information. Create a community around somebody who is doing nothing or seems lost. Let them feel like they have support. And when they have that 100%, they'll find something. They will. Because you're not being put on this earth to fail. The reason people fail is because they don't have support. Me, that is what I think. Like everyone who has failed, I feel like it's just there's no support. So they start believing that they are failure, but because they can't do the thing that they hate, their heart is not there, they stay in this limbo for so long. Give somebody support and you see how their life will change.
It's so sad that it starts with our parents. Because even then they didn't have the
support.
They didn't have the manual, So like right now, there's so many of us who are walking around damaged. But at the end of the day, you're like, okay, they did the best with what they had, but we have the opportunity to make things better, I guess. You know, but
we have to be practicing. Anyway, there's so many things I can say about that. The Kenyan economy.
Let's keep talking.
You know what I mean? Before you move to the next point, I really want people to take what you said about being on the receiving end of such whatevers. Because even when I think about this, was not over the age of 30, but when I think about first pregnancy, when Shiv decided to quit his job, my first thought was not to be supportive. My first thought was just like, what are you doing? Is this really a good idea? Are you sure you can make money here? So I think you just create so much doubt in the person's mind. Probably that might not have been there. That's all I wanted to say.
But I don't think I have something to add to that. There's a podcast I listened to about that. Well, I can't remember the podcast. I listened to like 10 a day. But this guy, there's a research that was done about partners. How your partner can actually be your make or break in your success. Like so they interviewed partners couples where their partner was supportive and couples where the partner was a bit doubtful of this person's business venture or whatever, and even the people who were still doing what they wanted to do, but they had partners who were a bit pessimistic, they used words like maybe, maybe I'll do it, maybe I'll expand, maybe I'll whatever.
Okay.
Yes,
Not
because
enough certainty.
they don't have that certainty, and it affects your day to day, how you run your business, the decisions you make, the risks you take in your business. Yeah, and you see, it's so important who you have around you. Your support system is so fucking important to your development. And you were saying something before I cut you
and it's
off.
one of the things I've been unlearning in my 30s, and that is communicating how I communicate. What I try to do nowadays is communicate how that person hears. So like you and Shiv, you're a man and woman, you communicate very differently. So him, when he's saying, I've quit my job and I want to do this, and you tell him, so what you got from that is that I'm not feeling secure enough for this. But how he received your message for what is happening is you don't trust me, you don't believe in me. So we need to normalize communicating the way that person receives messages. If we always talk about love languages here. So if you know someone likes gifts and whatever, and you're actively doing that. If you know someone, and it's Julia who teaches me this a lot. She always says, Ivy, you're normally so quick to just move on, but me, I'm still processing. So I stopped saying, okay, let's move on. The fight is finished. I gave it time. So we need to learn how to communicate the way that other person is receiving the message.
Hey. Okay, the whole topic has been that
bye
point
guys. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Subscribe. All right, let's go to the next point. Normalize having creative careers.
Hello.
Guys, I'm triggered. Hashtag triggered. Hashtag triggered.
Warning. Trigger warning.
This is literally a conversation on its own. It's the whole book I'm reading. I have my book the book I'm reading right now. It's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Hi, Julia.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
I can't even. There's too much to say.
Yeah.
So I'll let you guys talk about normalizing having creative careers.
Yeah.
In this our Kenya.
In this our age. Like me,
in this our age.
I'll just say one thing. Still the other day, my mom keeps asking me because, like, she just asked me, still, like, after a while, I thought now that I'm married, it would change. Just like, na bado unafanya kazi. Like, she didn't understand what you do. Like, she understands it because I show them the proof of what I'm doing, but it's still, I guess, not sinking that, oh, wow, ati watu wanafanya kazi social media, wanafanya hivi, she still doesn't get it. So in her head, it's still ingrained that, hey, okay, like, I'm not working for anyone, I'm not, so she still asked me the other day, I'm like, guy, mom, we're still asking this question. It actually caught me off guard. I was like, oh, I guess, you know, even them, I guess our parents are learning a lot of things.
My family has been extremely supportive. The people who are not supportive was probably strangers and colleagues when I wanted to quit my very well-paying 9-to-5 job. And initially, guys, I don't know if you guys remember, when I wanted to quit to do over 25. I don't know if you guys remember. I was like, I kept feeling like I'm sleeping on a giant, and you know, we were all so busy. I kept saying, you know, I want to quit, do over 25. And I'll never forget, there's a person who was just like, just that. You just want to do that. Like, that's what you want to do. And then another one was like, oh, you know, you just can't quit, the way Julia is saying. You just can't quit, you have to put yourself into a transition. I got a lot of barriers, and I think I got a lot of barriers because people were not understanding that you can have a career in the arts. I don't know.
It's very new
in China, in China, there are influencer incubation companies. Like where you're brought in as a potential, you're in your 20s, and you're trained. You're trained on how to influence, how to speak, how to represent a brand, how to dress, how to, you know, address a group of people. I don't know. For me, my problem was I got a lot of, you know, pushback when I said I want to quit and do this.
That's why you should not say. I am very strong on protecting not even your energy, but protecting new ideas. So let's say me, because I paint, let's say for example, but painting can be, I want to be this, I want to be that. Something that's new, that you have not yet. You need a backbone for it.
I mean, you can defend it.
It's a baby. Don't go and give your baby to somebody who is not ready to take to nurture it. Don't. And this is my thing. There's people who give you criticism. You know, people used to say, but you know, Julia, I'm just giving you positive criticism. What is it called? Positive criticism?
That is.
Constructive.
That's the one.
I knew it was not positive. Constructive criticism is one where even when they tell you, you're like, enyewe, you feel like there's valuable feedback that you can incorporate into that thing. Other people, they project. They project and they give you criticism. It might even look like, even your own parents can be like, no, but you know, I don't think you should do this because shouldn't you practice until you're better before you dive into it?
Yeah.
How the fuck is that possible? Even your career when you started, did you dive into your career when you were good at it? So you started and learned. Yes, so also
through experience.
Yeah, so it's very so yeah, for me I'm like, just make sure there are some things you should protect. Try to identify the people in your life who, you know, it should not be many. Just a few people who you feel like
they can actually
got you for real.
They got you.
Advice.
Yeah. And
that's good advice. That's constructive criticism.
Because criticism can actually kill your dream. One person can say, and even somebody you don't even care about can just say something which you're already insecure about.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't think you speak as eloquently, or maybe you can improve your public speaking before you go and do this. And then you're like, okay, now I won't do it until because I'm not good.
I'm not good at
because I'm not as good as Julia in doing this thing. You cannot start by doing that. So that's my point. Yeah. So yes, I think normalize people having creative careers. Okay. If you don't understand it, try and figure out how you can understand it to support somebody in the creative. Because creatives, the reason for me, I think the reason there's a lot of mental health issues in people in the creative industry. It's not because creatives are weird and they just have mental health issues. It's because there's no support. So you're constantly doubting yourself. You're constantly in a you know, should I do this? Should I do that? Am I good enough? Am I what? Am I what? Then you get lost. And then creativity is also it's not structured like the way office life is structured. It's abstract. So it's also very hard to explain to people what it is that you're trying to do or trying to achieve. You understand? But then how are we being measured with the ISO paradigms 9 to 5? You see, so it's like, wait, you're free from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. but you're working at night. That's not right. You should work during the day.
Why aren't you busy?
And if anything, it's the most untapped kind of industry, and it's the one that's it's blowing up. Like that's where we are headed.
Do you mind us also just telling guys examples of creative career if someone is not particularly sure? So as for example, we are social media, that word. Julia was saying painting. The time she was doing painting.
An artist,
music,
poetry, writing,
being
books.
a poet, being a writer,
look at Majimbo,
making
like,
movies.
You know, she's a comedian.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's why I think there's so many struggling artists, because people just can't seem to understand why it is you've chosen this path versus the 9 to 5 path that everybody
and Kenya does not support it. The government does not support it. Let me tell you, let me give you an example. In primary school and in my era, I was in 844. Hey, let me tell you, you know how people grow up and they say, this is gonna be a long episode, guys, but you know how people, I used to envy people who say, since I was young, I knew I wanted to be a journalist. Like, me too. Me, I didn't fucking know shit. But when I really think about it, I knew I wanted to be, I can't even say it, like I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to paint and I wanted to draw.
We've spoken about this before, baby. You're the one who helped me figure out. You told me, look, try and remember what you used to think about as a child.
Babe,
I'll never forget those words.
Think about those things. I think it's one of our talks. Like those things that used to excite you, but then because they are not, even you don't have role models. Those are things for America. You know, So I remember when the technical subjects in 844 were art, home science, business and agriculture, something like that. But then I was only looking forward to get to class 4, class 5, so that I can do art. Because I used to see the students like in class 7 used to have an art room. And me as a class 3, I was 9 years old, I was always in the art room at lunchtime. I just used to pass by to see what new
they've put out.
What new drawings people have done. And that's the only thing I know for sure I was interested in. Like if you think about, and this is a realization I had like in the past year. I was like, I remember as a kid being so eager to get to class 5, class 4, so I can start doing art. But then when we got to that class 4, 5, the government removed technical subjects. So now we moved from 7 subjects, or is it 8 subjects, to 5 subjects. We had maths, English, geography, science, and Kiswahili.
They actually removed
They removed the technical subjects. I didn't care for business. I did not care for agriculture. I did not care for home science. But I was so eager to do art class. High school, when you go to high school, I finally got to do art. But the practical, so you have practical and theory. Practical contributes to 20% of your art grade, and theory is 70%. Yet my theory book, you know how in high school your biology book you had like 10 books from Form 1, like 10 exercise books. But then the art book, I had 1 book. Like there was such little theory, that was 70%. 20% was the art practical, but the whole time we're in class, we're either painting or drawing or sketching or learning shading or learning this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
So even you in your mind as a child, you start to say art is not important.
Yeah.
This is that, you know, it's the hobby, it's the what. It fucks up with your mental. So you get into this, oh my God, like, we've been quite passionate.
Hey.
These are heavy conversations. These are individual conversations on their own. So please leave a comment if anything has touched you, triggered you. Leave a comment. The next one is normalizing. Okay, so normalizing this whole thing where we don't meet societal standards.
Okay.
So for example, not being married at a certain age, not having kids, not having enough money at a certain age, of, you know,
Divorce.
Ooh, divorce.
Normalize the
Traditional weddings. Doesn't always have to have a white wedding.
Yeah. Another thing Ivy had mentioned was money, not being like on the same level as everybody.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, again, something else I came to unlearn. Just because I was making a certain amount of money, I came to realize that I was a bitch. I was a fucking bitch. In that, if someone says, if we're being invited for a plan or whatever, you know, babe,
You came at me once.
Unlearning, and I'm very sorry.
No, it's okay.
I came to realize, what the fuck? Not everybody can afford what it is you can afford. Your lifestyle changes because right now, my friends, not having that salary, I am one who says I can't afford, I can't do it. So I unlearned, I felt really bad that, I felt bad.
Yeah.
I felt bad that I was, what can I say, gauging friends and people based on what they can afford, where they can go, what they can buy. It was a very stupid mentality.
No, it's not stupid, babe. Let me tell you what it is. When you even me, I felt it like when you're balling, you received a huge check. You know, you become blind to other people's problems.
Even if it's not a very big check.
Yeah.
But some influx of...
you just go like, hey.
See, we go and...
You know what's happening?
Yeah.
You're not the shit. You forget.
Yeah.
You forget.
Yeah.
You forget.
You forget the day you didn't have that
forget.
much. Yeah.
You forget. And even when you're poor, you forget that you are once rich and you can come back.
Yes.
Money comes and goes.
And especially if you haven't reached that maturity to understand that money, you shouldn't look at money that way.
You really shouldn't, and that's where I am
But
now.
it's good that you...
And money is just not enough, because I'm just like, okay,
Never.
salary, okay, sinking fund, emergency fund, retirement, insurance, salaries. I'm just like, the money is just not enough.
And the best or worst part about money is the next day it could be you without the money.
Exactly.
And then the person who you're hating on with the money.
Exactly.
As in it's fleeting.
Yeah.
What was his name? The guy who unfortunately was tortured at Nyayo House Ukochini. What was his name?
Matiba.
Matiba story breaks my heart. But Matiba's wife had done a story some years back. I read it in the paper, and you know the family went through some huge financial, issues. Like they lost a lot of money, and she was doing an interview with one of these newspapers, and she was like, you know, the tone of the interview was very dreamy in a way. She's just like, she was the way the writer described it, they were sitting at some balcony somewhere and she was looking into the distance and she was saying, she's like, you see those birds over there? I think they were somewhere next to Lake Nakuru. But you see those flamingos or those birds over there? That's how I see money. One day they are there, you turn around and come back and they are not there, they've flown away. She's like, we had surplus. We had a lot.
Yeah.
And when you're in the state of mind of having a lot, you cannot imagine not having it.
You can't.
You know, and sometimes people sink, and they sink financially, and it's not even at their fault. And also people who are doing well financially, you can't say it's me. I did. There are people who did the right thing. They passed exams.
Yeah.
They went to school.
Yeah.
They did, but they still haven't made it. And there are some guys who in school they were the walevis in campus, but sasa, you know, they're driving this car. They're living over here in this part of town. So it's not, some things don't work out the way they're supposed to work out. So I think we should have compassion to people's different financial statuses. You know,
Do you think we should normalize talking about it? Like, do you think we should say okay, this is where I work, this is how much I make, this is where I work, this is how much I make?
I'm really for that, especially in certain industries. I think it's good to ask, like, you know, in this
Yeah.
gig, how much are they giving you?
I feel like we're freer now.
Yeah.
As influencers.
Yeah,
I've called
definitely
Shiko,
freer,
I've called
sure.
you. I think it's
What
cheap.
I
I'm like, what are you
charged.
getting for this?
Yeah, what's your rate?
Yeah, what's your rate card share? I think we're more open now
and
than when
generally,
we're
as a society, money, we don't talk about money. Like you don't want to
uncomfortable.
let people know how much money you're making or how much money you don't have.
Yeah.
So even me, like for me, I don't like to talk about money because I didn't grow up talking about it. I never had open conversations
Even me, I don't
about
like to.
oh, my mom never told me now I have $1 million in the bank, I want to do this. I would see her doing shit, but just talk about money makes me uncomfortable because immediately I think of the lack of it.
Scarcity mentality.
The lack of it. Yeah, like it gives me anxiety. Like, hey, next week nitakuwa na hiyo pesa.
Exactly.
Next year nitakuwa na hiyo pesa.
You've said such a good point about when you think about money, you think about the lack.
Yeah.
So that is what scarcity mentality
Yeah.
is. Okay, guys, so this is the last one that we should normalize. It's a little bit cheeky, it's a little bit fun, just like us.
Before you go there, I've been staring at Lona's thighs. This entire episode, they look so juicy. I'm like, I'm just waiting. I'm like, this is good. Hey, got her back in Diallo. Okay, let's go to the cheeky one.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because it's kind of related. Normalize not having orgasms every time you have sex. Okay?
All right.
Not
flips here.
not all sex has to end with orgasms,
Yeah.
especially for women.
Yeah. What I would add to that is, first of all, for females, is that pressure that transfers onto the guy.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh my God, I didn't satisfy this woman because she never came. First of all, I think women still enjoy sex without coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
But of course,
Agreed.
we would want to climax.
All
But
the
I would
time.
say I've seen a statistic as high as 70% of women don't actually climax via penetration. So normalize just not climaxing all the time.
There's nothing wrong. You're not broken.
You're not
broken. Your sex isn't bad, dear gentlemen.
Yeah. And maybe even you need to move out from that penetration into other
feelings.
There are other erogenous zones on
Yeah.
a female or male body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lonzi, even to add on to that, the way you're saying it puts pressure on the man, I feel like it also puts pressure on us as the babes.
Yeah.
To perform.
You have to make so much you have to really make it sound like you're having a great time. And that's why there are women all over the place faking orgasms. They look up. Babe, like sometimes.
Like you go to morning school.
Yeah. Me, I've had anxiety. I've had anxiety for, do I sound like I'm enjoying this?
Yeah. Or do you sound like there's a
All women in this world are actors.
Really?
We act. Let me tell you.
And if your mind
first of all,
wanders.
who told you when you have sex, you have to moan? Okay, I'm saying, we watched porn. Let me tell you something.
It's not legit though.
I'm just challenging because me, it's part of me.
Who said?
I said, why? The guy is not moaning na hata yeye anasikia poa.
Yeah.
So the chick is, and then the guy is, you know, what if I also want to keep quiet? I asked myself that once, but and then I tried to nyamaza, and I was like,
You can't
this
do
is
it.
weird.
It's like whatever, normalize guys moaning. Why is it called?
Inside joke.
Inside joke.
But yeah,
Inside
as in,
joke.
there's a lot of things that have been taught through the years that are not necessarily so. Like
Accurate,
things are different.
I feel like, guys, it's not only the moaning that we fake, because the moaning itself is
Theater. I tell you, the other day I saw on TikTok this chick probably doing a TikTok about
Even flipped
not going, because that's what she was doing. So basically, she said that she holds in her pee because of some sexual things. Then I went to the comments. So apparently, because me, I was like, what is she
makes
talking
you
about?
come harder.
I thought
When you have a full bladder.
But me, I thought it's about peeing. When you pee, when you release, there's like some nice things.
I've read articles about learning how to squat. And one of the things they tell you is it's more likely when you have a fuller bladder. Like you go in, it's very uncomfortable. I've tried it. All I could think about was I need to pee, I need to pee, I need to pee, I need to pee.
And the guy can do something then
The wrong thing might come out, but it helps. It helps in getting
that's what they
in
meant.
there.
I didn't even
The fuller,
understand
if you have a fuller bladder.
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah. I'm not peeing next time.
But here's a tip, like to men.
Yeah.
If your lady can achieve an orgasm, where you guys fuck it up is when you when you change the pace and change the motion.
Motion.
If the girl is saying don't stop,
Even don't stop.
don't stop any that same pace, that same motion.
Let your hand
stay.
die. Let your hand die if it's doing
In
something.
addition, when a chick says, I'm about to come, don't start
No.
going harder.
Do what you're doing.
Maintain.
Do what you're doing.
So, for example, if you are doing this, and then she says, oh my God, don't do because now you fuck up everything.
And you lose it so easily.
It goes so easily.
It's like it's coming. Okay.
I don't think it's coming.
And then it's literally boop. The guy can just shift kidogo
And you're done.
And then it goes, it disappears. It's like,
It doesn't come back. It doesn't come
takes
back.
so much
It's
more
so hard.
work.
Yeah, it's so hard.
So if the
doing
baby
it
is enjoying, don't increase whatever Evie has said.
Yeah.
Just maintain.
Maintain. Shut up, please.
And I love that she has said
And don't even
stop.
speak. If you're not speaking, you may say the wrong thing. Oh, baby, fuck. I don't need to hear this.
When they say, you're like, oh, I'm about to come. Come for me. Come.
No. Guys, as in maintain.
I think that's where we get
Stop. Can I just say something?
Yeah.
I think as over 25, us women on this platform, we have normalized sex conversations.
We have.
This is kitchen table talk. We brought it to the internet. When people used to come and tell us, oh my God, you guys are so open. How do you do it? Yes, and I'm like,
The raunchiest channels. That's what we're called.
the raunchiest.
The raunchiest
On a
channels.
national newspaper, like our parents.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, there's a time my uncle came and said, you discussed some bad manners. I was like, but then he was happier. He's like, I see bad manners. I'm like, of course, so it is not bad manners, it's good manners. Otherwise, he'd have told me you need to stop.
Yeah.
Okay, that uncle of mine.
I'm dying.
I've been told bad manners as a 33-year-old woman. I watch you. This was okay last year.
That's
I watch your thing. I think, you watch it, yeah, but sometimes you talk bad manners. It's not bad manners.
It's not.
Okay,
No,
we're
not
adults.
all.
We're all having sex.
Consensual and over the age of 18.
Consensual sex.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end.
Kill it there.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments on anything you're saying, as per usual, please leave a comment. Share this episode with anyone who you think might benefit from it. If you've liked it, give us a thumbs up. And remember, as per always, please subscribe.
Because it's free. Not because it's free. It's also free.
Political correctness.
Hey, wait.
In a joke.
Hey.
Political correctness. Actually, what I meant was not to negate.
Oh my
and furthermore.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you back here next time. Bye.
Peace.
Over 25, subscribe.